Welcome back to the studio, here in Mainz of our Future Forum 2021, State, Society and People in the Digital Age, shaping our global future and global transformation. And it's going to be a really exciting afternoon. We're not letting you off the hook yet. And we're all looking forward also to a big celebration at the end of this afternoon. But first of all, we have a couple of really important discussions that will help us move forward and look forward after these 4 days and make sure that the Future Forum is not just an event. We've been learning, exchanging and collaborating over the last 4 days. Let me just remind you of the main focus areas: changing the capacities of state and non-state actors, the social cohesion question of peace building in the digital era, inclusive digital democracy and deliberation, leaving no one behind, and data for sustainable development. We had a great panel on that this morning. We've had side events covering the breadth of GIZ's sectoral know-how, knowledge, experience, and we've just had the virtual marketplace where you had the opportunity of deep diving into many of those projects which are either in the incubation stage or already being scaled up, and an opportunity for people to say, I want to be part of that, actually. What have we learned? Just a couple of things. We'll be drawing on that after about 3 o'clock today in much more detail. But it's taking power of data control ourselves as consumers. It's about aligning speed, language, about really making sure you know the context you're in. It's about collaborating and building trust, getting rid of the prejudices that we've seen a lot between the organizations, with humility and courage also to fail. And it was great. We saw that on Monday, GIZ colleagues saying, yeah, you know, we're doing business like in Silicon Valley. And I guess another big learning where we had a little bit of a shitstorm on our social media, on Platz, was when we said, let's make women visible and let's do it with an all-female panel. But I think we've seen throughout the content discussions that there's a lot more to it than just having people on a panel. It's all about inclusion and using the diversity. So it's been a great learning journey, and I'm about to hand over now for a panel discussion to Christian Gmelin, who's a digital advisor at GIZ. And Christian, your panel is going to help us understand a little bit more about the donors' perspectives on moving forward, and it's entitled Human-Centered Digital Transformation. Over to you.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you. Human-Centered Digital Transformation. Yet another fancy title, you might think. But what does it mean, actually? Does it imply something exists like a non-human digital transformation? No, trust me. Sometimes it may seem spooky, but at the end of the day, it's all within our responsibility. But it means indeed that the digital transformation, more often than not, is happening without the humans, or most of the humans, in the center. And that is due to many reasons. The lightning speed of technological progress, political, economic interests, that technology is often regarded as a purpose in itself and not a means. You name it. But even if it sometimes does not seem like that, at the end, it's in our chance and our power to be part of the game, to at least steer the process a little bit and to regain some digital autonomy. And for that reason, and to meet these high expectations, we've invited an illustrious round of panelists today, representing, as Natasha said, the donors' perspectives, the commissioning parties, the big ones, the BMZ and the EU and the GIZ itself. And therefore, it's my honor and it's my pleasure indeed to introduce to you today Ms. Carla Montesi as the Director for Green Deal and Digital Agenda at the DG for International Partnership of the European Commission. I also welcome Tanja Rüdiger-Vorwerk as Deputy Director for many things, but among others, digitization at the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ, and, of course, Dirk Assmann as Director-General at GIZ as a sectorial department. And without any further ado, I would like to put the spotlight on you, Carla, and ask the first question. The EU and the Directorate-General, International Partnership in general, are strongly committed to support digital transformation in the partner countries, and that is represented in a significant budget as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about your plans?
Thank you for your question, Christian, and allow me to start really congratulating. I think I have my audio in. Yes, so sorry. So allow me to start really congratulating Tanya and Dirk for the organization of this 4 days challenging event, and I'm really very glad to join in this last panel. I think that this was a common message that after 2 years following the start of the pandemic, we can certainly say that digital technologies were essential for our life, essential in ensuring the continuity of a business. And at the same time, also the pandemic has exposed new digital divides and the gap that now we have to bridge in the European Union, to bridge beyond the European Union. You certainly mentioned digital is a key priority for the European Union. If you have seen last week, the President van der Leyen in our State of Union speech was really once again very clear about this priority. She defined digital as the make or break issue. She has also in her speech mentioned the new connectivity strategy, the global gateway, as one of the key priorities for this Commission. The objective will be building a partnership with countries around the world, connecting goods, people, services, and as you can imagine very well, digitalization will be the key word on this connectivity strategy. So the role and engagement of the European Union is very strong at policy level, at the political level, and also through action. Political level, allow me to mention the 2030 Digital Compass, the new strategy for the European Union that set ambitious internal target, internal for the EU, but it's a strategy that also calls for a very strong international engagement from the European Union to shape the digital transformation, to promote inclusiveness, equality, prosperity, respect of fundamental rights, and the sustainability in the relation with our partner countries. So clear now, we said we want to walk the talk, and this is the reason why we have clearly put digitalization among all the key priorities in our programming exercise. We are working with our partner countries now to define the priorities to implement our partnership financial instrument, Global Europe, that will be our financial instrument for the next 7 years. And we are at the moment in a negotiation, in dialogue with our partner countries on fixing the priorities. And I am very happy to say that we are ending the process, and we can clearly say that we will have the digitalization that will feature in the majority of, as a priority in the majority of our partner countries. Over 80% of all our relationship, all our programming will focus on digitalization. So we have a lot of work in front of us. Work that, allow me to say, to be successful imply that we will have to work simultaneously on several areas in a very integrated approach. So I will just focus on 4 pillars of action. We will have to work, of course, on the digital governance, with a focus on policy and the regulation. We will have to work on connectivity because we need to strengthen access to secure and affordable connectivity, and also to increase the coverage, just to close the digital divide. And we will have to work on skills and entrepreneurship, because investing in capacity building for the global authorities, the public authorities, and the private sector will be also key. Working has a last area of intervention in e-services because, of course, we need to support the digital transition for public services. That will be an essential. Now, this will be the 4 big areas of intervention. Allow me to say that also, of course, digital will play an important role to support also the green transition and the fighting climate change, because as you can imagine, big data such as Earth observation will play an incredible role also for understanding the changes of our planet. Now, how we will work on all this domain, allow me to say that we really wanted to join forces with all the key actors from governments, from the private sector, with the civil society, and working what we are saying in a Team Europe approach, so working together with our member states, with our development agency, with the financial institution, in order to be more powerful in our intervention at the country level. And also we want really to stimulate the role of the private sector. So in our financial instrument, we have foreseen a lot of funds, the European Fund for Sustainable Development, the EFCD+, where we are creating a new financial instrument just to create de-risking, incentivize investment to call the intervention of the private sector in all this digital world, because we really believe that the private sector will be a major player in the field of digitalization. So I stop here, a lot of work, of course, in front of us in the next 7 years, but really ready to work with all the actors all together. Over to you.
But I don't even want you to stop, Carla. Thank you very much. Actually, I have thousands of questions in my mind, and you mentioned like the 2 hot topics of nowadays times, like climate change and digitalization, and I would have many questions in this regard. I won't do that due to time constraints. However, one more question, please. How can we ensure, against the background what you just mentioned, taking all that into account, how can we ensure that in the digital transformation with high technology like blockchain technology, other fancy technologies, no one gets left behind, because that is our credo. That always has to be our credo. And can you tell us how the EU wants to ensure a sustainable and an inclusive digital development for all and everybody?
Thank you, Christian. I will say that the key word for us will be really this EU human-centric approach. So our ambition, now more relevant than ever, is really to pursue digital policies that empower people and business to achieve this human-centered, sustainable, prosperous digital future. So the model that we want to promote is a model where we ensure a digital transformation that is based on human rights, data protection, ethical use of the digital technology. And in our action, we will have to translate these key priorities by working to bridge the digital divide, to empower our partner countries to enjoy the benefit of the digital age, and also preventing unintended and uncontrolled risk that is deriving from digitalization. And doing this, putting clear risk, human rights, and data protection as a key element in our model. So working on this, I will say we will have to work with all the actors, at country level, but also at multilateral level, because of course we will have to, just in order to be more effective, we will have to really succeed also to promote our European Union values in global standard setting, embracing a multi-stakeholder approach. So working on this will be really a key in ensuring that we'll really use the technology in the sense to support this digital divide in all different means that this could imply. Allow me just to take the example, when we look to for example, the responsible development and use of artificial intelligence, that is a key element to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and the advance in 2030 agenda. Working on this domain, working on digital education will be essential. And of course, in working artificial intelligence, in the spirit of ensuring this human-centric approach and respecting the fundamental right, we have, for example, developed the ethical guidelines for trustworthy artificial intelligence. So working towards regulatory environment will be key, and working on ensuring the bridge of the digital divide will be the two essential elements to ensure that no one is left behind, and that, of course, that everyone will be benefit from these new technologies. Over to you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you very much. Tanya, from your point of view, how can we ensure, from BMZ side, to strengthen the digital capacities of our partners adequately, let them be the public, the private, the civic partners, and not to overburden them, to be able to deliver responses to pressing issues like climate change or the pandemic we just had, or many others, you can just name them?
So if you ask me how we will be able to deliver digital responses to current development challenges like the pandemic and the climate crisis, my answer is going to emphasize a point that Carla just made. As a Team Europe, we need to scale our efforts as individual member states, and we need to make sure we are doing this in a coordinated manner. Together, we launched the D4D Hub, which already offers a unique entry point for partner countries to engage with the EU on joint strategic priorities. And I can tell you the Team Europe approach works. With the event 1 year of digital EU responses to COVID-19, we altogether successfully demonstrated in this June what we can achieve as we join forces at EU level. Over the past year, we, the member states, together with the European Commission, supported projects in the global pandemic response, which have reached 206 million people. So you asked me about the responses, and I wanted to go even beyond it and look towards the future. Yeah. So I think it is fair to say that for our recovery from the pandemic, digital transformation will be the key driver, as Carla said. I closely followed in Europe, in our partner countries and worldwide. So she already named this, and as many of you in the audience probably also followed the State of the Union speech delivered by President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, last Wednesday. A fantastic speech. And I particularly agreed when she said, and I quote, "We have to double down to shape our digital transformation according to our own rules and values." End of quote. This is exactly what we call the human-centric approach. And at the BMZ, we made this human-centric approach a key part of our digital DNA. Together with you, we want to shape a sustainable digital future for all. And at BMZ, we are ready to deliver digital solutions for governance, innovation, and pressing issues like the climate crisis and pandemics. So in times of a global pandemic, we need to shape our recovery efforts in a green and sustainable way. So this green recovery bears a wide range of opportunities, especially in the field of digital transformation. We can and want to create the conditions to reduce negative environmental effects as much as possible and promote green tech and sustainable digital solutions. The European Union launched the Green Deal, as its response to the climate and environmental emergencies, and the digital and green twin transition. And this is important. The twin transition is here identified as top policy priorities. And in our ambitions, we are aware that the green technical transformation can be only effectively implemented if it is data-driven, and as meaningful data is a crucial basis for informed policy and investment decisions. So actually, this is not only relevant for climate change, adaptation, and mitigation. A reliable database is supported, for example, for the EU African Union data flagship, which supports data sovereignty and envisions that the value of data benefits the citizens globally. And to further support citizens in their digital sovereignty, combating misinformation in the internet has become a prominent example in times of COVID-19. False information can severely hamper public health, social cohesion, and the functioning of democracies. And let's have a look on governance and digital public goods. Just as their citizens, governments can use digital tools to take ownership of their digital futures, for example, by building more effective and cost-efficient digital government services. And this is made possible with the usage of interoperable digital building blocks supported with the GovStack initiative, a cooperation between the BMZ, Estonia, the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, and DIAL, the Digital Impact Alliance. It's supported by the BMZ with 6 million euros. So an overall approach on ensuring participation is the concept of digital public goods, which aims to have mutual benefits, be inclusive and available worldwide. And Germany has joined the multi-stakeholder initiative Digital Public Goods Alliance as a board member in August 2021. Another aspect of digital public goods is covered with the initiative Fair Forward, Artificial Intelligence for All, which strives for a more open, inclusive, and sustainable approach to artificial intelligence on an international level. And so far, more than 4,000 persons have been trained on artificial intelligence in partnership with Atingi, KI Campus Germany, policy frameworks on ethical artificial intelligence with Smart Africa for the 32 member countries have been developed. So you see, this is a huge basket we are already having here and working on together. And I would like to give back to you.
Tanja, thank you. I don't want to sound cheesy, but there are some words like the GovStack initiative you mentioned, the working together, the Team Europe initiatives. This actually almost sounds romantic, to work together in a joint effort on digital public goods, because that's our job. Maybe we should not forget that too often, but thank you very much, Tanja, for that. Dirk, taking into account what we have heard the last couple of days during the Future Forum and the focus areas of digital peace building and of governance, we have also tackled some of the aspects how to react to autocratization tendencies during the pandemic, societal polarization, hate speech, misinformation within the digital transformation. What do you think can a developmental organization like GIZ do to tackle these problems?
Yeah, Christian, thanks a lot. And before answering your question, I'd like to thank all of you, especially our delighted guests, Ms. Tanja Vorwerk and Carla Montesi, for joining us, the organizers, our moderators, of course, and most important, all of you that are participating in this format. And well, coming back to your question, which is not easy to answer, and in fact, let me say first, of course, development cooperation, and especially the EU and Germany, including the implementing agencies like GIZ, play an important role for the development of our world. However, compared to all the different forces, different actors, different resources, our significance is limited. As we can see in examples like, well, Afghanistan, the most recent one, Mali, and others. Especially in the case of state building, a lot of different factors must appear at the same time to be successful. Well, second, all what we do works, of course, on the basis of European values in order to avoid the term universal rights, since I'm not sure that they are really accepted worldwide. So we are working on the basis of European values. In other words, promoting peace, and Carla Montesi already mentioned those values, equality, democracy, participation, protecting and promoting human rights is at the core of GIZ's work in all of our projects, digital or not. Third, the digital transformation is, Christian, you mentioned it in your starting words. It's not the end as itself, but it means it is an instrument that might help us in all sectors to develop in a more sustainable way. But as every technology, it can be misused. And well, some of you know that I'm an engineer. Me as an engineer, I know what I'm talking about when I talk about the misuse of technology. It might lead to or strengthen autocratic structures. So we have to be aware of all the pros and cons, all the chances and risks of the digital transformation. Therefore, of course, we have our, within GIZ, we have our processes like the safeguard process that we established a couple of years ago. In each and every project appraisal, we rigorously examine risks for human rights, peace, social cohesion, gender equality, and for particularly vulnerable groups like persons with disabilities or human rights defenders. So these safeguards assessments also include proposals for tangible and feasible mitigation measures. But so far, so good. But our project personnel has to take decisions every day, again and again. And very often, it is not easy to overview the consequences. Therefore, we at the sectoral department try to help them with practical guidance. For example, the guidelines on digital human rights or a position paper, public participation in the digital age. And of course, we try to assist our projects with our own or external experts. So GIZ has, from my point of view, both a strong theoretical foundation for preventing autocratization tendencies and societal polarization on and offline, and is also strong in implementation in this field, as we have seen in various sessions during the last days. Let me highlight only two examples in the field of fighting misinformation. Commissioned by the BMZ, GIZ has developed the Digital Inquirer Kit together with NGO and think tank partners for human rights defenders and basically all persons interested to fight misinformation online and verify information. This toolkit is available on the public learning platform Atingi, and I really highly recommend all of us to attend the course. I've got to know the kit in a session 2 days ago on Tuesday. Yesterday, I the course. And well, I thought I was a very reflective person, but the tool showed me some biases I wasn't aware of. So it's really interesting. I really can recommend it. Another strategy to address mis and disinformation is the support of professional, independent media. In the Western Balkans, GIZ is currently designing a project with the Deutsche Welle Academy and Internews, and this is commissioned by the EU and BMZ to support economic sustainability and fact-checking capacities on independent media houses, which are facing heavy political and economic pressures. So just two, in my opinion, very good examples to fight misinformation. Coming back to your initial question, can we prevent autocratization tendencies? I say no, at least not alone. But we can support actors fighting for democracy, and that is actually a lot. With these words, thanks, and back to you, Christian.
Thank you, Dirk, the engineer. We had 2 days ago, no, yesterday I think it was, we had, in the context of the GovTech initiative, we had our formidable partner from Estonia there, the policy advisor for the Estonian Prime Minister, and he said, pointing to some kind of a construction work, Germany is famous for its engineers, but what we need is more architects to really reinvent something new. I had to say that, Dirk, sorry. I have one last question to all of you. Tanja, Carla, Dirk. Very basic question. There's so many new actors in the field of digital development. Where do you see the role of your development organization today and in the future? And Tanja, I would like to start you.
Yes, thank you. Well, I think a key takeaway from this panel and also from the conference overall is that we need to build onto the strength of our different organizations towards a joint digital economy approach. And looking towards the future, I think we all agree that there are two key changes that need to happen and that we aim to support through our digital engagement. Firstly, we need to scale the right things. That is why setting standards for human-centered digital solutions is vital. And secondly, we need collective action and strong partnerships to achieve our global goals. Today, more than ever, we need partnerships that drive innovation and transformation to jointly overcome these exceptional times. We believe that digital innovation play a critical role in making the world a healthier and more prosperous and a greener place. So while more and more donors support the development of digital solutions in developing countries, the investments are still often duplicated and fragmented, and therefore neither scalable or sustainable. So my vision is that in 5 years, we can empower all governments, particularly those in low resource settings, to take ownership of their own digital futures. If I look at the EU level, indeed, I can see how many colleagues from other member states are currently in the process of building their digital capacities. Estonia, for instance, has a long-standing profile, as you all know, in the e-government field. Slovenia now took on the EU Council presidency and included the green and digital transition as one of the key priorities. So in that sense, I believe that together with our European partners, we can truly offer a comprehensive digital ecosystem approach that draws from our individual strength and digital capacities. Especially in the context of new actors coming into the field of digital development, we need to speak with one common European voice. And this is exactly why we established the D4D Hub. So BMZ is very much committed to the European human-centric way. And I would just name 4 things. What we bring to the table is, firstly, a clear digital strategy. We have this already, and running projects in over 90 countries. Second, a broad presence on the ground through our digital transformation centers. Thirdly, experience fostering regulatory frameworks and clear standards. You already named the GovStack initiative. Fourth, a wide network of partners in the digital ecosystem, in particular with tech companies. And I really want to emphasize the private sector as a partner of us is so important. They have the knowledge of the technology, they are widespread, and they are strong in the market. So these is, let me only name one, is, for example, the Make IT Alliance is a diverse network of tech companies, research partners and associations. And while bringing diverse perspectives and resources to the table, we share a common goal to support digital innovators across the globe. And since 2017, our regional project Make IT in Africa has supported more than 1,000 tech entrepreneurs from 24 African countries. And this year we commissioned the second phase of the Make IT in Africa to continue for another 3 years. In sum, I see BMZ as an element of the digital ecosystem that is taking shape day by day around the world. A key element, of course, since we will continue use our region, the ecosystem, to serve as an advocate and facilitator for change, with the aim to drive a sustainable digital future for all. And in that sense, I give back to you.
Thank you, Tanya. Carla, the EU has really, and that is my personal view in the last years I've worked with GIZ, has grown of such importance by now, budget-wise, but also competence-wise, and you have become another really driving force for development, but also for digital development. But how do you see your role now and in the future?
Many thanks, Christian, and allow me to really take this opportunity to once again underline what just Tanya and Dirk were mentioning, and starting with looking at the role of the European Union, because what we can say that today we have the potential to act as role model with regards to the digital. We know that Europe is the home of many digital related success cases. We shouldn't be shy of taking a strong role in the international arena. We have a privileged position as European Union to act as a catalyst for the action of several stakeholders. We can succeed in influencing how the future of digital will be shaped. We know that, as Tanya was mentioning, digital transformation is really a global issue, and it's also a global issue that no one can tackle in an isolated way. So we really need to join forces, build partnership, develop further our capacity in the digital domain. And on all this, as the European Union, really we want to be the stimulation of this work, joint forces. Tanya has already mentioned this Team Europe approach in addressing the digital connectivity. This really implies joint force with, once again, member states, financial institutions, joint force in the relationship with our partner countries. And we already mentioned the role of this D4D hub, the Digital for Development hub, that as the key objective is really putting in place a mechanism that will allow to all of us to coordinate approach, to jointly enhance dialogue, partnership, joint investment with our partner countries and inside Europe. So as European Union, really, we have a role to play, and we want to be the promoter of this role to play. Allow me to say also that, of course, the digital domain, it's a domain that is really dominated by the private sector, by big corporation, big startup. Our role, once again, is facilitating the use of a financial instrument that will allow to facilitate investment in the digital domain, working with, of course, our development bank. And in one side, in the other side, working with the private sector imply also build multi-stakeholders alliance partnership with the private sector, because they can have a big role to say. And it is in the context of the D4D hub, or in the context of our bilateral relationship, of course, will be really very, very important to build our role with the private sector. In all this, we really, as EU, want to provide a sort of a platform, a knowledge center to continue work with all the key actors in all this digital domain. So really, my keywords is really joint forces, work together with all the different actors, and this is what, as I will say, EU organization we really wants to promote. It's a collaboration tools, shaping together our ambition and our value in the international arena all together. Many thanks. Over to you, Christian.
Thank you, Carla. You're very disciplined, all of you. We're really good in time. I was asked in the beginning to really stop sharp before, and I think we'll make it easily. However, famous last words, Dirk, but take your time, no problem. What's the role of GIZ? I mean, that affects me personally too.
Well, yeah. I think you did a very good briefing, so therefore we are all in time. But before coming to your question and talking about the role of GIZ, I'd like to make a general remark that was motivated by the words from Carla and Tanya. I think we have to be aware of the worldwide situation in the digital ecosystem. And in this world, we live, or we face, a very highly competitive, polarized surrounding. There's, on the one hand, the state-centric approach from China, and on the other hand, the private sector approach from the US, both with maybe one aspect is similar in both approaches. That means the winner takes it all. And we, as Europeans, we have to find our position in this game. We are proud of our European values. But we have to fight hard to be attractive enough for our partner countries with our values. Therefore, I highly appreciate what has been told us by Tanya and Carla about the comprehensive digital ecosystem approach, about a strong role and join EU forces to become, in the end, to become a third power that is able to play a significant role in this game. And that's not easy, because in some of the technologies, the other actors are quite far from us and more developed. Well, coming back to your question, what does it mean for GIZ? Well, in general, our main role won't change, and it is maybe more important than ever. Build up capacities, support forces in our partner countries that are looking for change, for their way of sustainability, for solving problems by themselves. And of course, it is our obligation. We have to do our best to work on all dimensions of digital transformation together with our partners. Carla already mentioned digital governance, digital policies, regulation, usage of artificial intelligence, big data, public participation using digital tools, and so forth. The opportunities are overwhelming, the challenges as well. Therefore, I see GIZ in a very critical position. Why? Well, first, GIZ has been a versatile facilitator in many projects, networks, partnerships for many years. We have to build on these facilitator and honest broker experiences, and we are already doing so in the new digital transformation initiatives of BMZ and the EU, as we have heard by my previous speakers. Second, GIZ's implementing structures and long-lasting partnerships in more than 120 countries worldwide are an asset to the global sustainable development agenda. But of course, also for the digital transformation and transformation processes in general. And third, we keep on learning. One recent example I'm proud of are the digital governance camps of 3 governance sector networks. They have mobilized forces and organized agile and human-centered design sprints for developing new digital solutions, project implementation with 400 plus colleagues participating, and of course for the benefit of our partner countries. So maybe let me close with one recommendation by one of the focus areas of this future forum. And aside, we as GIZ should understand ourselves as facilitators and partners for sustainable change and usage of new technologies. And I'd like to add, for doing that, we need to have a deep understanding of digital approaches, and we have to incorporate new skills in our company. So coming back to my initial statement, capable people and organizations, resilient societies that are able to solve their problems are key. Therefore, capacity development is even more important than ever. This is, I believe, a role very much needed now and in the digital future. Thanks, Christian.
Super, super interesting. Please allow me to change my hat for a second, and now talking as a employee of a development corporation, so to say, for 10 years. And I remember in 2012 or something like that, right after the Arab Spring, it was this international development organization somehow realized that social media in those times and digitization will definitely play a role for our work. And in those times, we were really lagging behind. And then a lot happened at the BMZ, at the GIZ, at the European Commission. And until now, we have really embraced these technological possibilities to some extent. Now I'd say, and that brings me back to what I said at the very beginning, it's about regaining digital autonomy. And when you say, Dirk, yeah, it's about capacity development, that's still an evergreen, because that's exactly what we need as the individual to be digital autonomous, to know what's happening with my data, and as a country and for our partner countries as well, to take decisions that are based on knowledge. However, take my hat back, being a moderator again, and I would like to seize the opportunity to thank you all. Carla, Tanja, Dirk, it was really a pleasure and a joy for me to moderate this illustrious panel. And I wish you all a good day, and thank you, and see you soon again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Christian. This has been really, really useful. On the one hand, we know so much more about what the important donor organizations are doing. And we also understand that they have our backs. And I think that's going to be one of the most important things going forward for all of the colleagues at GIZ in embracing this uncertain future, is to know that the organizations are not just behind you, but also you're on the same track. And I think that's been really, really useful. And what you've also done, Christian, is given us 10 minutes to have a short bio break. So we thought, let's use that. And see you back here at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
Bye-bye.